Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will share with you how to overcome the fear of being seen. And I want to start this video with saying that you cannot heal the fear of being seen by having more confidence. It's not going to happen when you lose weight or when you have the perfect hair, because the fear of being seen starts at the nervous system level. And what we have to understand is that the things that you do externally, even how you present yourself, are not going to help you feel safer in your body. Because ultimately, if we want to overcome the fear of being seen, we got to create safety in our bodies. We have to feel good and safe with being perceived by a lot of people, or with being perceived by being ourselves, by sharing our truths. And when we know that this is happening at a nervous system level, we also know that we have to work with our bodies and not only with our minds. Now, this is going to be a video where, of course, I will share with you why you have the fear of being seen, how it develops, how to heal it. But I also want you to understand that the fear of being seen cannot be healed on a cognitive level. You can't think yourself into safety. You have to drop into your body. You have to embody safety. There is a big difference between that. And so what I want you to understand is that a lot of times what can happen when we're doing, for example, talk therapy, when we're talking a lot about our problems and the roots of why we are the way that we are and why we're scared, all of that is not bad. We want to bring it to the surface. We want to have a look at that. But only staying up here in our minds and not using our bodies is what's not going to create that safety for you to actually unblock that fear that you're carrying with you. Now, why is it important to heal the fear of being seen? Probably if you're watching this, you are a business owner, you're building your business, you want to make more money, you want to grow, expand, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video, right? I personally work with female entrepreneurs. This is the work that I do, and I help them heal the fear of being seen so that they can grow and expand their businesses, so that they can do YouTube videos, do TikTok videos, go and stand on stages, publish books, whatever it is that they're desiring. When it comes to the fear of being seen, it has to be healed. Otherwise, you will be capping yourself in the amount of exposure that you deserve to have, but also in the amount of money and success that you want to have, right? Now, the first thing that I want you to understand is that when it comes to the fear of being seen, this is not about weakness. You're not weak. There's nothing wrong with you if you're scared. There's nothing wrong with you with feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to be judged. What are they going to say? Are they gonna, think I'm a bad person? Whatever that fear is, it is normal and human to have this fear. So let's talk about some signs. If you're like, do I have the fear of being seen? Is that me? Or maybe I just imagine that I have the fear of being seen, but I actually don't have it. So let's talk about a couple of signs that you might have the fear of being seen. So let's see if this feels familiar for you. The first sign could be that you procrastinate on showing up or launching your product, your service, not because you're lazy, but because it actually feels heavy. So the thought of showing up, the thought of creating a video, the thought of putting yourself out there feels heavy in your body. The second sign could be that you're watering down your message because you're scared that people will get offended. So instead of actually saying what you want to say, and instead of being your most truest, authentic self, when you're creating content, when you're putting yourself out there, when you are in a group discussion, you're saying the thing so everyone can agree rather than the thing that you want to say that might offend people or might even trigger people. You might also hide parts of yourself that feel too much or too real. So maybe you're someone that, maybe you put yourself out there, you have let's say a coaching call. Maybe you're a coach and you have a coaching call, and then you share something about yourself, and afterwards you feel like, oh my God, did I share too much about myself? Should I have said this? Am I giving too much away? This could be one of the signs. This is a very interesting sign to you. You say you want more clients, but then you actually might feel relief when no one signs up. Because ultimately, this is what leads to less pressure. You're staying in what I call safe visibility. So you are consistent, but your content is not outstanding. You're not shining. You're not really breaking through to the people. You're not really leaving an imprint. It's more like, yeah, it's information, but it's not really hitting people with your message. You turn down interviews, collaborations, you know that you might even get, opportunities put your way, and you're still scared to actually show up and do the thing that you're asked to do. Now, these are just some signs, and these are, of course, very business related, but if you clicked on this video, you probably already know deep within, this is something that I'm struggling with. Now, I do want to say, before we get to the end of the video, I have a 2-day event come up, which is called Embodied Icon, in which we will go into the deep practices and healing to heal that fear of being seen. I will share more towards the end, but I wanted to already let you know right now if this is something that you feel like you want to consider. So let's talk about why do we develop the fear of being seen. I think this is really important because it's going to help you understand your behaviors and also how you grew up and the things that you have seen or heard or learned made you scared of being seen. First, and this is going to be a big one, people pleaser. If you grew up as a people pleaser, or you were told, hey, if you put other people first, this is the right way to do. If you ignore your own feelings, your own emotions, if you do what other people tell you, you're going to be loved and accepted. And then what happens is that in a way you have learned, well, if I put other people first, other people's feelings first, it is better to stay safe, to just hide and not actually share what I want to say. So even when you want to put yourself out there, you're scared you're going to offend people. You're scared you're going to trigger people. So you'd rather not do anything at all. Or when you post, it is very bland. It's nothing powerful, or your powerful voice is not really coming through. Good girl programming. If you grew up with the good girl syndrome, which a lot of us ladies do, you have learned that conforming is the only right way to receive love and affection, right? So think of it this way. You were told to stay quiet, to not outshine others, to do what you were told, and then you're the good girl. And so now when you want to create a business, you want to stand out, you want to share your idea with the world, you're actually holding yourself back from sharing what you want to, because it is no longer in the spectrum of what you learned a good girl is. Maybe somewhere along the way you have learned that you were too much, and being too much is wrong. And so you have learned, oh, if I'm too much, other people are going to reject me. They're not going to like that. So I'd rather keep myself small. Another reason why is you might have the fear of leaving your family behind. And this is very common for people who, love their family a lot and spend a lot of time with the family. And you see this in family systems. Everyone has a very similar mindset and belief system, especially if the family hangs out a lot. And what can happen is once you start being different or sharing a different truth, one of the fears can be that I'm going to leave my family behind. They will no longer love me or accept me because I actually have a different opinion. So anything truly that you've experienced early on, if that's criticism, conflict, or even danger, you learned it is safer to do things in a certain way. And so today you might want to do things differently, but your nervous system still keeps pulling you back into what is familiar. Because at the end of the day, all that your nervous system wants to do is to keep you safe. So let's talk about the nervous system role in visibility. And this is really the key to healing your fear of being seen. What I want you to understand is that your body has an internal surveillance system. And so it's scanning all the time through your eyes, your ears, voices of other people, sounds, facial muscles, and head movements, deciding whether the environment is safe or dangerous. And so when your body thinks visibility isn't safe, it sends you into two different states. Either your fight or flight, which is the sympathetic state. So this is where your heart races, your mind overthinks every word. What I also want you to understand that when you are in this state, your ears literally stop picking up friendly noises because your biology is turned for danger. So what happens in fight or flight is you defend yourself by doing, like defending, justifying, explaining, perfecting, or by fleeing. And then we have the second state that you can be in, which is freeze or disappear. This is the dorsal vagal state. This is where your energy drops, you feel disconnected, and maybe you end up showing up entirely. So what happens is you watch from the sidelines instead of participating. So you will see other people being successful, other people creating what you want to create, maybe even standing on stages. And when it comes to you being the person, you're actually disappearing. You don't want to be this person to do that. It's actually camouflage. It's one of our oldest survival strategies. It's 500 million years old within our systems. And it's because, of course, when we blend in, when we camouflage, many, many years ago, that was how we survived, and our bodies still tend to do that today. And here's the key. This happens before your brain even knows why you're reacting. That's why what I said in the beginning of the video, you can't logic your way out of this, because it's not coming from your thinking mind. It is literally your body responding to what is happening outside of you. So let's talk about, how do you heal that fear of being seen? There's two ways to heal the fear of being seen. First, the long-term strategy, and second, the short-term in-the-moment strategy. So in the long-term strategy, we're focusing on the baseline of the state of being that you're in. So we talk trauma healing, looking at your inner child, and the things that you learned early on that now make you go through life, looking at life through that lens that you have learned as a child. So in order for you to really change that baseline that you're in, we got to look at, okay, what was one of the earliest accidents? What was one of the earliest memories that you have about something that happened, so you can heal and really literally reprogram your mind on a deep, deep, deep level. So what we're doing here is gentle nervous system work. So whenever you find yourself feeling in danger or feeling dysregulated, you bring yourself back into the present moment. You bring yourself back into the present moment, right? Other things, when I say trauma healing, we use that with somatic practices. So that's where we go from the head into the body. Now, I do get a lot of people who tell me, well, why don't you show us? I have a lot of masterclasses where I actually show how it's done, but that's also why I will be doing this 2-day retreat, the Embodied Icon retreat, because I can't really practice this on a YouTube video, to be honest with you guys. And it's going to be a long 2-day retreat where we're going to rewire those deep, deep patterns, which brings me to what trauma work really is. It's just closing up the loop, your body locked in protection mode, right? So you got to understand that when you have something traumatic happen to you, it is your body not being able to fully process what happened. It was your body protecting you in that moment to not feel what it needed to feel back then. And so when you're doing the trauma work, you're literally closing the loop. And that's why it's so important, because then when you're closing the loop, your body can no longer holds on to what has happened in the past, and you can literally change your state of being. And then, as I said, we have the second strategy, which is the in-the-moment regulation. So these are quick tools for when you find yourself being dysregulated. So breath work, tapping, grounding, anything in that moment. So let's say, for example, you're showing up, you have a podcast interview, and right before the podcast interview, you go like, oh my God, I'm so dysregulated, I'm so scared. Then you do these practices to bring yourself back into safety. And so what it does is it brings you back into a ventral vagal state where you actually feel connected, open, present, creative. You can think straight again. You're not in survival mode, because when you're in survival mode, you can't even think straight, right? Your body is immediately going into thinking of all the dangers that are happening instead of allowing you to trust yourself and trust the world. So what you're doing is essentially you're teaching your body, I can be here. I can be safe. Everything is okay. And of course, I can be seen. So what you want to do is you want to work on both. You want to work on the baseline. So really looking at those roots of what made you believe certain things about yourself and the world, and also on these quick regulations in the moment. Now, I also want to give you some practical steps that are really going to help you. What is extremely important when it comes to healing your fear of being seen and doing that on a nervous system level is to check in with yourself daily. So actually notice, how is my body responding? Because a lot of the times, again, we will feel a physical sensation, but we will try to think ourselves out of it or logically understand what is going on. Instead of doing that, just notice, oh, I'm about to go live, for example, on YouTube, and I'm feeling butterflies in my stomach. Can you just allow yourself to feel that without making it wrong, without trying to suppress it? Alone, that awareness is the first step that we need in order for us to heal ourselves on a nervous system level. Again, it's not through thinking, it's through feeling. Then the next thing that you can do is practicing micro safe visibility moments. So let's say, again, you're putting up a YouTube video, and start small. Maybe it's a 2-minute reel first. And before you record it, ground yourself, regulate yourself through breath work, through shaking, whatever you got to do. And then after recording it, you bring yourself back into safety so that your body associates, oh, visibility is actually really safe, because you practice putting yourself back into safety over and over again. It becomes consistent, and it's gonna work over time. You can also do tapping or subconscious rewiring exercises, like you can do subliminals. Subliminals are great. I do teach deeper practices, and that's what I'm gonna teach in Embodied Icon too, that are going to really tap directly into your subconscious mind. But think of it this way, your subconscious mind is open when you're relaxed. So when are you relaxed? Usually early on in the morning as you're waking up, your subconscious mind is a lot more receptive, or as you're about to fall asleep. So if you want to reprogram your subconscious mind, you can even use visualizations and use them early in the morning or late at night. Now, closing this up, I want to say that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. So many people struggle with the fear of being seen, and they're not even realizing it. What I also want you to understand is that when you don't heal this fear, what's going to happen is you will keep showing up, but not getting the results that you want to. Trust me, I've been there for a long time in my life, in my business. I would show up. I would be the most consistent person I know personally in my life. Like, I am determined. If I want something, I'm going to get it. But I realized it wasn't through harder work. I needed to rewire what was happening on a deeper level. And that is really the key. When you do the deeper rewiring and your nervous system starts to feel safe, that's when your results are going to shift in your life and in your business and in your money and everything. Because your nervous system, the way that you're going to present yourself, you're going to be more magnetic. You will draw more people into your world because they're going to see and feel you differently. At the end of the day, people buy because they feel you. And not only for information, but because they see something in you. They're like, I want to know what she's done, and I want to learn from her. They will buy your products or buy your services because there's something in you that is different, that is making them attracted to you. And when you have this visibility wall in front of you of like, oh, I'm scared, it's going to repel people, or they're not even going to see you in the first place. That's why this work is so incredibly powerful. And so at the end of the day, what I want you to always remember is your nervous system is your friend. It's protecting you, always. But right now, we got to shift your state of being so that your nervous system knows I'm safe despite what I'm doing. I'm safe despite me being seen by a lot of people. I'm safe despite me putting myself out there. If you feel like you want to dive deeper into this work, that is exactly what I will be teaching in Embodied Icon. It's happening soon. It's a 2-day online retreat. If you can't join live, you will receive the recordings. This is such an incredible offer because we will go through the reprogramming, through the somatic work, through the trauma healing. So if you're interested, the link is down below. I would love to see you there. But with this being said, I so appreciate you being here. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you learned something new. I'm sending you so much love, and until the next time, bye-bye.